Hi, this is Jim Hale in Indianapolis, and today we're going to talk about the Robin Hood Foundation and some of the issues that they had revolving around some conflict of interest with some of their board members and their investments. For starters, I just wanted to look at the organization, the Robin Hood Foundation, and their purpose is finding and funding and creating programs in schools that generate meaningful results for families in New York's poorest neighborhoods. And they do that by working with some of the established organizations. Of the 9,700 organizations that work with those groups in New York City, they pick the top 200 and partner with them to try to combat poverty. And so the issue was that in 2005, their tax filing said it paid at least $1.08 million in management and incentive fees to funds that were operated by board members. They were establishing a rainy day fund, which was required by the Better Business Bureau, so that should something happen to the economy and funds stopped coming in, they could still meet their obligations that they'd already made. But they were doing this with some of their board members who were investment bankers and ran hedge funds, and paid them over $1 million. And then the other issue was that some of the board members that were doing that were getting compensated for managing the charity's money because their hedge funds didn't allow for them to charge some clients and not charge others. So their company that they worked for had policies that prohibited them from giving a break to the charity. So the problem was a conflict of interest. And in Worth's textbook, he calls it the duty of loyalty, which means that members of the board put the interests of the organization above their own personal financial interests or that of another organization, which they have a formal relationship with. And individuals can't use their position on a nonprofit board to enhance their own position in their business or their financial position. And so the conflict was that they were making this $1 million based on decisions that they were making as a board member for the Robin Hood Foundation. And then the other issue that Worth brought up is private inurement, which means anyone who's an insider, like a board member, a CEO, or an employee of a nonprofit, can't unreasonably benefit from the organization's funds. And that was the appearance in this case, that they were making money off decisions they were making on behalf of the charity. So my recommendations would be, first of all, to define what inappropriate behavior is before it begins. If there's a new board member coming in who works for a company that you might do business with, you have to know ahead of time what the problem would be. For these guys that work for Saks, the problem was that they were investing with their company and they were the managers. A second recommendation would be to request some conflict of interest policies from other similar organizations. See what other organizations do, which is some of the isomorphism that we talked about, but it's partly the coerced isomorphism because the government has regulations. See how other companies manage those regulations and work within them. Another step would be to gather some relevant guidelines from other professional associations. I know in Indiana we have nonprofit management councils that will tell you best practices for nonprofits. A fourth recommendation would be to disclose any of those potential conflicts. So if it didn't come up when the board member was appointed, but then something happens, the decisions are being made that could be a potential conflict, disclose that as soon as you realize it. And then the fifth thing would be, if there is a vote that's coming up that you feel you are in conflict with, just recuse yourself from that vote. If in this case, if the hedge fund managers just stepped out and said, here's my recommendation, this is my company, this is what we do, This is my company, this is what we do. Just step out and say the rest of the board members will vote, and I will abide by that. So those are my recommendations, and hopefully we can avoid any potential conflict of interest in the future. Thank you.